Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Flock's Nest Sports Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Dallas, repping 52 of the Baltimore Ravens, Ray Lewis. I bring the flock.
Brendan, the other half, wearing 54. Bobby Wagner. As the 12, I bring the nest.
We have got a great episode for you guys today. A lot of breaking news. We're going to get into all kinds of things. And of course, we're going to talk the Ravens game, the Seahawks game, our games of the week, look ahead to college football playoffs, and our games for next week. So, Brendan, do you want to start us off with breaking news?
Yeah, so we had a lot of news this week, mostly out of the NFL. We're going to start with one of the sadder bits of news with Randy Moss confirming a battle with cancer. He did also confirm that the cancer had been removed. It wasn't quite an operation to do that, but he is now going to be undergoing treatment from chemo and radiation just to clear it all out. So hopefully that all goes well. We're all pushing for him. The whole NFL community's pushing for him. So just an unfortunate thing that we had to all find out this weekend, but sounds like we're moving the right direction with that. So um, just as
Yeah,
a community, let's
definitely shitty and unfortunate. But it was good to hear that the surgery went well, and like you said, hopefully the rest of his treatments go well. We did see Justin Jefferson pay tribute to Randy Moss on his first touchdown drive, and he wore his jersey pre and post game for the White Vikings last week. So you know, yeah, shout out to him. Thoughts and everything with him and his family.
yeah. Okay, on to slightly better news. Devondre Campbell has been suspended 3 games by the San Francisco 49ers. This comes after he refused to play at the end of the Rams game. They suspended him rather than released him. This kind of comes as no surprise. This is
Yeah,
essentially them making it so that he cannot play again this year. He forfeits his money and really makes it so that he can't really go anywhere. He's kind of just
yeah.
stuck.
I mean, you and I talked about this when it happened. It's more common than I think your average NFL viewer realizes for players to be like, "Nah, I'm not going in." Um, but this game had playoff implications. He was like the only linebacker they had left, and then not only did he not go in, but he's only one of two players like ever actively walk off the field
Mhm.
while the game was still going on. And maybe on other teams, like we saw it with the Bucks and Antonio Brown, but kind of a different situation. Maybe on another team, they don't take it quite as personally. Maybe they do. But this team, everything they've gone through, everything they've fought through this year, you've had not one but two players lose children. Um, Players been shot. Like all of the injuries they've dealt with, and you don't want to go in because you're having a fucking feeling about being a backup, which is what you are. Completely unacceptable. It's a team sport. You left your brothers out there to dry, um, and now playoff hopes are gone for the Niners. So get fucked, honestly. Like I'm glad they did this rather than release him because if they release him, they have to pay him. Someone else can pick him up. You have no right to be earning money with pulling shit like that.
Yeah, it was a terrible situation. Um, and the 49ers did. I think this was just a kind of giant go fuck you.
Yeah,
And it made sense. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
And then some injury news. The Lions just can't escape the injuries right now. Really unfortunate. David Montgomery has a torn MCL. Uh, Carlton Davis broke his jaw. And Aleem McNeil tore his ACL. Those were there was another one. I can't remember the dude's name now, but he broke his leg. So 4 guys in the last game, all season-ending injuries. 4 key defensive pieces for the Lions, or 3 key defensive, 1 offensive. The Lions are just going through it with the injuries. It's not been great. So this just adds to the list for the Lions.
Yeah, there's usually like always one team that's like decimated by injury.
Yeah,
And this year, I thought it was going to be the Rams, but it all happened really early. So now they're getting healthy. And it's kind of been the 49ers, but the Lions are just getting their ass kicked by
going
injuries,
through it.
which is a bummer because, like, they're so clearly on an upward trajectory as a franchise. Hopefully these are things they can overcome, but it is also impacting decisions, important decisions Campbell makes.
Yeah,
And I think that has the potential. I'm not saying that like they're wrong. Like we can talk about the onside kick. I disagreed with it in the moment, but at the end of the day, like this is their identity. This is who they are.
yeah,
He's trying to win, and that defense is just so hammered that you make decisions to try and win, and I just don't know if the injuries or those decisions are going to cost them what they could have.
yeah. It's definitely not great.
Because
Um,
offensively, they're still rolling. Like,
Offensively, they have very few injuries. Really, it's been Montgomery, and that's about it. On the offense, it's the defense that has like
yeah,
17 players out or something like that.
like I
It's
just,
been a rough run for the Lions here the past couple weeks.
yeah,
Something else that happened over the weekend. Patrick Mahomes has a high ankle sprain. All signs are pointing to him playing this next week. He's been
play.
practicing, um, and he's a guy. If he's good to go, he's going. There's no real stopping him. Um, so kind of wait and see. But signs are pointing towards him being good to go for Saturday.
Yeah, it's hard for me to like, you're a quarterback in the NFL. This is your job. Everybody's kind of
Yeah,
banged up. Everybody's hurt. I think for what the Chiefs are trying to do, I'd maybe rest him a week. But at the end of the day, if he's good to go, like you said, they're gonna play him. He wants to play. That's who he is.
yeah, you're
As
you're a quarterback in the NFL. It's
yeah,
unfortunate, but
like
being at that position, you're kind of built different in terms of just you got to be out
mentality
there.
and drive.
Yeah,
And so yeah, I know he wants to be. I know that's who he is. I'm not commenting. I just they play the Texans and the Steelers next. And the one thing those teams do really well is get after the quarterback. And his O line, specifically his left tackle, has been
have
really shaky all year. Like he's got like a record high of like 17 or 18 sacks this year.
yeah, it's been
So when you're trying to do something as historic as a three-peat for the Super Bowl, I just, maybe rest him a week, but if play him, whatever. I'd
it's their
rather they
decision.
lose anyway, so
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter.
Um. the-
Don't want him hurt though. I want to be clear. That's not what I'm
yeah. No.
saying. Just like
We want him
for
playing.
their goals, I do think no, because he can't not. If I have to hear about how well, of course, Lamar beat the Chiefs without Mahomes there, I'm a freak out. I'm a freak out.
I would freak out no matter who it is because I'd be
Like,
sitting there going like, they still went.
yeah, but I just,
Like if
I'll
Allen
hear that.
wins in the playoffs,
Yeah,
gets it,
they're gonna be
and
like, well, of course, he did it without Patrick Mahomes being there, so doesn't count.
yeah,
So rest him for a week so that we can all have our moral victories as well.
yeah. Couple more names that are all on season-ending injuries. You have Trevor Lawrence, season-ending injury with shoulder surgery. You have Max Crosby, season-ending foot surgery, and I think that was really it. There might be a couple we're missing, but if I
And
don't,
those, it's so hard because maybe it could have waited.
yeah, But your season's
but you're
over.
not making the playoffs. Like, your season's over. You're playing for pride, or like I think for like Lawrence, like his back, Mac Jones is like, this way I get some reps, I can put some film out there, maybe
Yeah.
get a starting job. I've seen him play though; he's not. Um, for Max Crosby, like who Max Crosby is. He
Yeah.
doesn't. He's not going anywhere. So it kind of lets those backups get some tape out there, get some reps. It's not a terrible thing. It's hard to know if they were needed right now or if it was like a
Do it now. Get ready for
fuck
next
it, might as
season.
well. Yeah,
Season's kind of already
it's wrapped up
over.
for those teams.
So those were just a couple more. Sticking in the NFL, we did have a quarterback change coming up this week. The Atlanta Falcons have benched Kirk Cousins and are planning on starting Michael Penix. This will be his first NFL start. So congrats to him. I don't remember exactly who they are. Oh, they're playing the New York Giants.
Giants.
They're playing the Giants. So this should be a pretty
So
light introduction to the NFL.
I think clearly because I thought if they beat the Raiders, they would stick with Cousins because they're still in the hunt for the playoffs. There's still a
Yeah,
path to the playoffs. They do have to win their division, but they have tiebreakers over the Bucks because they beat the Bucks twice.
yeah.
So I thought maybe, even though he's playing just terribly, and we can get into that in a second, that they'd wait. But kind of thinking about it, I'm like, I think that decision was actually made last week, but you didn't want him to face Max Crosby.
Even though Max wasn't playing this week,
Yeah, like
you weren't
just in case,
you weren't
you were
sure of
like,
that.
no. Now he's facing the
The
Giants.
Giants.
So if you can't, with all of those offensive weapons, build up some confidence with your rookie quarterback, you have bigger problems.
Yeah. So
Like, this is
obviously,
a good introduction game.
yeah, this is a pretty light landing for the kid. So we'll see. I was very high on Penix coming out of college. I thought he was the best quarterback coming out. Um, just with the experience and how he played in that last year. I really liked him coming out. I did think this pick was very interesting at the time, and it seems to be paying off for him now.
Yeah,
With Cousins playing
terribly.
terribly the past couple weeks, it's not been
He
good.
looks like he's still hurt.
Yeah,
Um, I saw a thing that one of like the best players to ever statistically come off an Achilles tear, re-enter the game and not look like it bothered him was Kyle Durant. Or Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, Kyle. Jeez, fuck. Kevin Durant. But he sat out
for
for
like
over 500 days.
yeah,
Like, especially when you're older, like we're seeing this with Rodgers. You clarified for me the other day that Cousins burst his 2 months
it was I
after
think a
Rodgers,
month and a half.
but Rodgers is just now starting to look like himself and play like himself. You're seeing him and Devontae. You're seeing more movement in the pocket. Like, you're seeing a closer to an Aaron Rodgers everyone thought they were going to get. And I just don't think Cousins is there yet. I think he's still recovering and finding his legs. I'm
Yeah,
not convinced he's washed because he has had great moments and great. His games against the Bucks were fantastic,
but if you
but
take those games
overall,
away,
he looks hurt. He looks hurt.
yeah, I'm just confirming the Achilles for both of them just to see.
And we broke down the money, and it just
So yeah,
they have to
it
release
was
him.
about a month.
Yeah.
It was about a month.
So he
Rogers
just
did
hasn't
his
had the
in
time.
September. Cousins did his in late October. So about a month. Um, so we hopefully should see Cousins start getting back to that point. But like Dallas said, we kind of looked the money. Um, it's not great. They either have to trade him or release him um, before March 16th or whenever the season starts next year. I don't know if that date's been released. It's probably mid March.
Yeah.
Um, but that's really where they're
And
at.
it makes no sense to keep him just because every the more time they keep him, the more his guarantees go up because of how
Yeah.
massive his contract is.
So yeah, their best options are cutting him before next season. I think it was with the post June first
Yeah.
designation saved them the most, but that are trading him. I think trade could be a pretty reasonable option, especially if he starts to come back to where he normally was, which we won't necessarily see because Penix is going. But if teams have faith that he can get back to where Cousins was originally, maybe we see a trade for some late round picks.
I heard a take um trade him to the Vikings because if they lose Darnold, you have someone in the room that knows the offense, knows the room, and you're paying league minimum for him.
Hmm, interesting. I don't necessarily dislike that.
And they know who he is. So if you call and be like, we know he look like he's back to normal,
Hmm.
like
No, that's not a bad thought. I do think that he could be a pretty interesting piece in this quarterback carousel
yeah.
of if someone gets desperate. I think it
Or
could be an interesting draft day move. If someone misses
yeah.
out on a quarterback on draft day and you want to take a punt at him just as a
Or
stopgap,
as maybe annoying or shitty as it is from like Cousins' perspective, like another like if you draft a Cam Ward or something, you need kind of a bridge guy while you
that's what,
get
yeah,
him ready. Cousins is a good option for that.
something like that.
Like he's a great we've talked about this, he's a great guy to learn from, be under, to see his process. Um, with the exception of the Achilles, he's never had serious injury problems. He's never been seriously injury prone. He's a good guy to learn how to take care of yourself from. Like he's a good guy to be a rookie underneath.
Yeah,
So
we'll see. But
yeah, definitely interesting.
definitely something to watch this weekend with Penix getting his first start. And then the last bit of news, uh, we're gonna go to the college game, college football. Bill Belichick is officially the University of North Carolina's head coach. The deal was finalized this week. Kind of talked about it. It was pretty quickly finalized. Definitely should be interesting, to say the least.
It's I have too many conflicting thoughts. I feel like that's where I'm at. I don't. I It's gonna be interesting. I'm not rooting for him to fail by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just not sure I see a path to success. Um,
Not for
I
his
think
style.
yeah, and I just with the way the college game looks right now, and NIL and the transfer portal and kids nowadays, like no offense, bud, but y'all are soft as fuck.
There's that.
Like just
And
like you're not, but you grew up with me. Like
there's I think the other thing is these students and these players are in control.
yeah,
There's very little like there's regulations. Like there are
yeah,
time frames for you to designate your transfer, but you can choose pretty much any
not to
time to be like,
play,
yeah, like we're seeing that with
and
a
like
kid out of UNLV,
yeah,
University
and
of
we're
Las Vegas.
seeing the consequences of those transfer timelines right
Yeah,
now
because we're in
with
one.
people in bowl games
Yeah,
and their kids are leaving because they're like, well, this is the only time I can do it. This is my only option.
yeah. There's two, and it's now and in April.
And I had that thought because you said it when we were talking about this the other day. And one of the criteria is finishing out credits. So I'm realizing like those two dates are
Our
like
end.
end of semester dates.
Yep, their end of terms.
So I don't even know how you fix that. I don't even know how you fix this.
I, that's a good point. Like, I wonder if you change the like. I think there should be more regulations, but I don't even know
What you turn it
unless
into.
you just get rid of the transfer during December, like the period during December that we
Like you
have
can
right
only
now,
do the
and you
one
can only do April when football is done.
starting. Or yeah, done.
So then you have like there should also be, depending on the system, there's either the December time, then there's like a March time you could do it, and then there's the like May June time. So maybe
Yeah.
rather than doing the December April, do April and then summer. The
Well, and
issue
how
is
long?
the issue with the summer is college football is going to start
Yeah.
relatively close to that point, so you're not going to have the camp and stuff.
How
But
long do college playoffs last?
they
Like, would they start
should.
this week? When do they end?
The issue is I don't know because of how they've changed. Let
Okay.
me check
Because I wonder.
because I know because they changed it, it's pushed it back.
Oh shit. Well, then my idea doesn't work.
Let me look. The last game is January 20th.
Okay. So
Is
yeah,
when
my idea doesn't work.
the national championship takes place.
Because my thought was like you can transfer, but you can't leave if. But if you're starting a new school, like you have to start class
It, yeah,
before then.
unfortunately, just the NIL situation does make this, or the new situation with transfers and stuff,
I agree, though.
makes it
I
really
feel like
complicated.
you should have a one in March, April, and then one like June. And then how the teams handle that and handle you, I don't know. But
That might be
this December one ain't working out.
the solution to not have people leaving mid. Because like I follow a lot of Seahawk fan accounts and like the beat writers and stuff, and a lot of them are Washington State fans. So they'll post stuff about Washington State because that's kind of their job is to cover
Yeah.
all of Seattle sports. Um, and Washington State's going through it. They just had their coordinators all bounce. Their head coach just bounced, and 20 of their players have all bounced. They play
Jeez.
a bowl game this year. They won 6 games, so they get to play a bowl game. They won over 6, so they get to play a bowl game. They're not going to have their coaches or any of these players for this bowl game. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you're going to have to elevate some random dude on your staff because
Yeah.
there are no coordinators and no coach. So you're going to have to elevate
And
your, like, passing game coordinator or some random position like that
and we see how that's going with the Bears. So
to be your
good
head
luck
coach for that game. And
with no players.
bowl games are important. These are probably the last
Yeah.
time some of these kids are going to play football. So it sucks a lot for these teams. Um, so I think that's something. Is this one now in December? I feel like just needs to get
Needs to go away.
gone
Needs to go away. Yeah.
because it does kind of screw over teams.
Yeah.
But
No, and hard and not to like, okay, I understand that you're not necessarily beholden to it. But at the end of the day, this team or this organization did give you a shot, and now you're bouncing, putting them in a terrible situation. But the kid is also in a situation where it's like, maybe this is the only chance I'm going to get to start or to try and be in the NFL, or
yeah,
maybe it's better like academically. Like, there are 100 reasons to transfer. And if this is their only option, like, everybody's fucked.
yeah,
So they just need to hone in
the rules.
the options, because Washington now being in this situation, is fucked up.
And we're seeing it with a lot of schools. We're seeing it with a lot of small schools. And then, not to mention the fact that the Pac-12 has been disintegrated, leaves teams like Washington State, Oregon State, and then all these independent schools screwed.
Yeah,
Independent schools are going to get absolutely fucked by all of these because they don't have the media rights. They don't have the possibility of winning a conference to make it to the playoffs.
yeah,
And that's like the only chance for some of these schools to make the playoffs. Like Boise State only made the playoff. I shouldn't say only, but one of the main reasons they made the playoff is they won their conference.
yeah.
They probably would have made it without that. But like for teams like this, winning your conference is like the only way for that to
Super
happen.
important.
So teams
And
like Notre Dame, Washington State now, Oregon, teams like this that are independent don't have this chance to win their bowl game or to win their conference to even get the free ticket to the playoffs.
yeah.
So
And so yeah, like they get this one shot and it's pretty much gone to hell.
yeah, so I this is something very new to college football. So maybe we start seeing
Yeah.
changes to be made. Um, we'll see. But I think it's telling that the best college coach of all time, Nick Saban, decided to retire right as this was starting.
And to bring it back to the point,
Yeah,
not sure that the thing Saban decided F this is something that Belichick is gonna like,
dominate
yeah, magically overwhelmingly succeed at. Like
because they're very
they're very
similar.
similar people. Um,
Like I think it
but Saban was
works.
more of a mentor.
Yeah, I think it works for the Deion Sanders, who
Yeah,
presents himself as a very likable person,
and he's tough, but like
understands his
he's
audience.
he's very clear. Like you can tell he cares. Like there is so much passion
Yes,
that
and
you know where it's coming from.
I think it helped that he had children
Yeah,
in that age, so that he can already be like a father to them while being a father to
yeah,
everybody on that team. And now he knows how to do that.
yeah.
So even going forward without his children on the team, because they're both, I think, going to the draft this year, it might just be Shador, the quarterback. Shiloh might have one more year, but still, the point still stands. Of now he understands how to be kind of a coach and a father
Yeah.
figure or that kind of person to this
And
team.
on that note, if I were a parent, I feel like Belichick is going through something right now. Like we were in our 50s coaching in the NFL, so we're having our midlife crisis 20 years too late. And I don't know that I want you to be their role model.
Yeah.
Like you live your life, but there are some things that I have questions about.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, raising a young man is important. It's very important. And I want who I know are fundamentally going to be able to raise strong, independent men.
Yeah.
Because that is part of your job as a coach. You are part of
It's
raising them.
especially in the college game
Yeah. And I just don't know that some of what you're going through in your life right now
is gonna
is very conducive to that.
yeah. So
And I don't know how well you're going to relate to them. 24-year-old girls and 24-year-old guys are not the same thing. Not the same. I just don't.
it's
I have
definitely
concerns. I'm not sure, but we'll see. I'm not
yeah.
rooting against him.
We'll
Good
definitely
luck.
we'll definitely see how it goes.
I can assure you, I'm more tuned into North Carolina football than I've ever been.
That's yeah.
Like
because North Carolina is not.
They're a basketball school.
They've produced one quality quarterback in the past couple of years, and it's
Drake May.
Drake May.
Yeah.
He's been
Trubisky went there, I guess.
yeah,
I I know.
Trubisky,
We use the word quality.
Sam Howell went there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where he was drafted out of, and
So
we'll talk
basically,
about
what you're
that
telling
later.
me is we're seeing Drake May's future. Shitty.
I don't know,
He
maybe
looks baseline more talented than
he
them,
looks better than them already, so
but
we'll
like
see.
Jesus fuck.
Um, but yeah, so I guess good for you guys.
But yeah. Good luck. Good luck. I can
Um,
promise you, everybody's watching.
yeah,
You will have a record high viewership.
that you will.
So
Um, Sticking in college football because this is something that we kind of forgot to mention.
oh yeah.
The Heisman has been decided. Travis Hunter out of Colorado won it. He beat out Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, and Ashton Genty. So congrats to him. Um, Obviously, before the award was announced, we said if I had a vote, would vote Genty. I thought he was just the better player, but I also think Travis Hunter completely deserved, completely earned this award. Had a great season and ended up winning it. So congrats to him. Congrats to Colorado and their
Yeah.
fan base, and way to go.
And I'm gonna say on that, congratulations. After the season's over, we will have plenty of time to talk about drafting and all kinds of stuff. We're gonna need content then, so I'll just leave all that to then. But congratulations to him. I do think he earned it based off how much he played, how well he played. When you sweep every award you were nominated for, it's hard to argue with.
Yep.
So,
So
congratulations, Colorado. That's
and
kind of that.
and then the last bit of breaking news, in the basketball realm, um, the Milwaukee Bucks have won the the NBA Cup. We talked a lot about WNBA. Got on
We
a
haven't talked a whole ton of basketball
yeah,
yet, so
the NBA Cup. So congrats to them. Giannis was, I believe, voted MVP of the tournament.
he
Um,
was indeed.
so congrats
He
to
was
him.
indeed.
Um, Pretty cool. This is the second winner in the history of that tournament. So congrats to them.
LeBron and the Lakers won it last
Last year.
year,
Yep.
so um,
Should be.
yeah, good for them.
Yeah. All
Good
right.
for basketball, hopefully, because that is a sport that is struggling right now. We can talk about that at a later date. But
Yeah. All
so,
right. Back to football. You want to talk Ravens?
oh gosh, yeah, we can talk some Ravens. It was a good day for Flock Nation. Ravens at Giants. They did get the win with at 35-14. Um, Overall, good game. Still some things we didn't quite hone in on after the bye. Little concerning, but we'll get into it. Obviously, we're going to start with the offense and the should be MVP. Anyway, Lamar would have had a perfect passer rating game. The fumble at the beginning of the game kind of fucked that up. But it was his seventh game of 5 passing touchdowns and fewer incompletions. He had 4 at the end of the day. So, really great for him. He also ended the day over 6,000 total rushing yards for his career. He and Michael Vick are the only 2 quarterbacks to achieve that milestone. I believe he's about 120 yards behind Michael Vick's overall record. So if he doesn't get it this year, he will next. So fast approaching that. And then the fumble wasn't something we really talked about last week because they recovered all of them. But if we remember, they did fumble the ball 3 times against the Eagles. So while Lamar doesn't throw a ton of interceptions, the Ravens offense does have a slight fumbling problem. Sometimes they do better than others, but Something need to be aware of. Hopefully they can work on. It's one of those things though. You take the bad with the good. Okay. He has a lot of upside. Uh Sticking with the offense, Mark Andrews became the leading scorer for the Ravens franchise with 48 touchdowns. He's also the only tight end in the league currently to lead his franchise in scoring. It's really great for him. Um, as for just how the overall offense performed, I thought they looked really good. The O line, I think, only had 3 penalties on the day. Did a really good job maintaining. The Giants don't really have much of a pass rush though, so it's hard to tell if that's if we got better or if it's just because we didn't play a good pass rush team. I'll know in a week. So, but they did play well. Yeah, Lamar ran it more. I think he had a little over 60 yards on the ground. Had some designed runs. Had some scrambling. Looked really good. Really opened up the run game. We didn't see Henry a whole ton. Um, he had some good runs in the second half. I think it was more just kind of a Lamar Justice Hill game. I'm not concerned about it. When they use him, they use him, but was a little light on the day. Devontae Welker caught his first NFL pass and touchdown in the same pass catch situation. I'm sure there's a better way to phrase that, and I'll think of one. It
On the
was
same play.
21. Yeah, same play. Thank you, Brendan.
That's what I'm here for, guys.
Fucking hell. Um, it was a 21-yard touchdown pass from Lamar. It was really great to see finally getting the rookie involved. He's been hurt, hasn't been available, so it was just great to see that not only him have that moment, but that he and Lamar kind of have that connection they're building. We also saw Rasheen Ali get his first carries late in the game, kind of garbage time plays with Josh Johnson in. He averaged, I think, he got about 6, 7 yards on the ground, but it was just good to see him out there. And then Bateman had 2 touchdowns on the day, which is a record for him in a game, actually. That was crazy. So, overall, offense played well, the line played well, had some injuries. Not sure what the makeup's going to be of that going into next week, but should be good. Hopefully they keep the penalties down. That's all that matters. Defense. Speaking of penalties, were the problem. Massive, massive problem. They had a record of 112 yards in penalties. Um, it's very high. It's a lot. It's too many. And against a good team, that is game crushing. So definitely need to work on that. There were PI calls and neutral zone infractions and all kinds of other bullshit. So definitely need to get better there. Not helping my concerns. Outside of the penalties, though, the pass defense actually looked really good. Nate Wiggins is coming alive. Um, they weren't able to move the ball on him. So that was really great to see. They did target him a bit more just because he is a rookie, but he played really well. We still haven't seen TJ Tampa. I think he's still coming back from the injury. He was officially activated to the 53-man roster today. So hopefully we'll see him next week, even if it's on a limited snap count. Thought the pass rush looked good. Giants, though, so it's not hesitant to say a ton there. And then we didn't see Trenton Simpson a whole ton. We saw him a little bit in garbage time. I think talked about last week how Malik Harrison played really well in Roquan's absence. I think he kind of played himself into that second inside linebacker spot. And him and Rowe just making a really great team, following through, getting to the ball. They just make a really great pair. So yeah, we are seeing Trenton Simpson come down in terms of overall role. I'm not sure if it will hold that way, but that's kind of how it looked. Special teams. Tucker was perfect, but he didn't kick a field goal, and I would have liked to see that. The one positive is he did have to kick 5 PATs. And I was a little nervous that after last week he would be two in his head, having the entire off week to just stew. Doesn't look like that was the case, but I'll feel better when I see him kick a field goal. And we also saw Desmond King make his debut with the team on special teams. He had a great return. And Harbaugh did announce this week that King would be the punt returner moving forward. So it was good to see him out there get involved, have impact plays on the game. So that was awesome. Um, game balls offensively, I had a really hard time picking. Lamar had an almost perfect day. A lot of guys did a lot of things really well, but I am going to go with Mark for taking the franchise touchdown record. Just that's a great accomplishment. Really happy for him. So, and with how he and Lamar and their journey started, if you don't know that story, it's pretty fun. It's pretty interesting. Mark was when he was drafted, he was actually the third string tight end. He got the start because when Lamar was put in, the offensive coordinator saw that Mark and Lamar had built a connection when doing second team reps. So when Lamar was made the starter, he elevated Mark to try and give Lamar someone he was comfortable with. And through all of that, Mark was able to earn the starting job. So you just think about that journey and his health conditions. To have that record, I think, is really impactful. So he does get my offensive game ball. Defensively, I'm going with Washington. He got the final interception of the game. It was, I believe, their only turnover of the day. Um, just kind of finished out the game, finalized everything with the pass defense and all their penalties, all the problems they were having. To see him just go out there, make a smart play, make a great play, and end it out, I thought was awesome. So he does get my defensive game ball. Injury news, not a whole ton to report. We did see Hamilton come off the field for a minute, but then go back on, so no real concerns there. I don't think we are going to do game preview videos this week. This one's coming out a little late. We had some technical difficulties. So I am just going to talk about injuries going into next week's game quickly. As soon as I find the Baltimore Ravens on my motherfucking list. Okay. Aguilar is questionable with a concussion. Rashad Bateman questionable with a foot, like always. Deontay Johnson. I don't think he's with the team anymore. I'm a little confused about what's happening here. He was suspended, obviously, for the Giants game. Haven't seen him. He's been out with a personal issue all week. So don't really know what's going on. Don't think he's going to be back. Kind of think that's what's happening. Falele, knee is questionable. Owe, ankle, questionable. Jalen Armour Davis, hamstring has been ruled out. Haven't seen him for weeks. Saw him like once this year. So, and obviously, like I said, TJ Tampa was activated off of injured reserve. Only two I'm worried about are Aguilar and Bateman. Aguilar has been kind of quiet the last couple weeks. He did have a really nice catch against the Giants, but Bateman has really been Lamar's deep ball guy. So, a little concerned if he's out for the game. But with the way Mark Andrews is playing, Zay, the running game, hopefully it'll be good. Keep waiting for likely to take that number one spot from him. Because that was going to happen. It was stupid. But so yeah, that is the Ravens Giants game. Pretty much blowout. Pretty much what I expected. Would have cried had it gone differently. Some things they still need to work on though. Mainly the penalties. They weren't offensive though, so honestly, I can get over it. If the
Yeah.
offense is gonna put up 35 points, it's fine. I would just prefer the defense knock the fuck off.
Yeah.
But taking what I can get here.
Take what you can get. You at least
Oh,
didn't lose to the Giants.
that's true. That's true. I already lost to the Raiders and the Browns. I couldn't take a Giants loss. I couldn't do it. Um, you did not watch this game.
I did not. I did not. Unfortunately.
They were
Well,
on red zone and not
I
on
shouldn't
a
say
whole ton.
unfortunate. I shouldn't say unfortunately. It's a boring
It
game, guys.
wasn't that exciting. It was not. Like, it was a good game if you're a Ravens fan.
I
But
am
we
not.
talked about this the other day that like hockey is the most watchable sport,
Yeah,
and football's great, but blowouts
are just
are hard to watch because of it.
boring.
You're like, Jesus God, is there a flag or a button we push to be like, we're done, we got
It's
it,
it's awful. It's
they
so bad.
win.
Like
So
boring football is so
it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
so.
Um, well, different kind of bad, but would you like to discuss the Seahawks and the Packers?
I would not. I
Okay.
would not. But
Do you have a different topic you'd like to discuss?
no. So
Okay, well then we're doing Seahawks Packers.
Seahawks lost at home to the Green Bay Packers 30-13. So not great, guys, not great. This was Sunday Night Football, so prime
Whole
time.
world watching.
Prime time, and they get their asses kicked. Just fantastic. We're going to start with the defense because I felt like that had the least amount of problems despite the score saying 30 points. They started out slow. Not going to deny that. 2 early touchdowns from the Packers was not great. Kind of dug Seattle a hole early, which was not great, not good. But the defense just didn't look good early. That's fine. It is what it is. They got much better as the game went on. They started being able to stop Josh Jacobs because he was ruining them early. Started to get back in it. Started to be able to stop him. Stop kind of Jordan Love from making them pay deep. So the defense started to get there. It just wasn't quite enough. Um, it just the defense I feel like just isn't quite there yet. To be like top notch to where they can carry the offense if it's not performing like at all. It's not like a Steelers defense or like the Broncos defense right now. Just not quite there yet. But I think there's been clear improvement from last year. So I think McDonald is doing a great job with that. So yeah, I think they'll get there. They're just not quite there yet. But still a lot of time. Not a lot of season left, but a lot of time with McDonald. I think that was a good hire. So I think the defense will continue to improve, and we're seeing it week after week. Unfortunately, this week just wasn't great. It's not help that the offense was, I kind of want to say non-existent. 13 points is not good. Not good. Um, the offensive line was purely atrocious. The Green Bay Packers have like the 30th ranked defensive line in terms of sacks and pressures and stuff like that. Or somewhere in there, they're bottom of the league in that. Um, they had 7 sacks and 16 pressures, which for them is a season high. So not good at all from the offensive line. Um, just terrible offensive line play. Really plagued the Seahawks all season, but in this game especially. It did not help that Geno Smith went down with a knee injury in the game, so Sam Howell ended up coming in to replace him, and I think we saw how important Geno Smith is to the Seahawks. He might have thrown another red zone interception, and I say another because that's been an issue this year. I think he has 5 now on the season, which is not good, not great. Um, But if you watch his red zone interceptions, there's normally a consistent theme to them. And it's they're losing. The offensive line has failed him multiple times in the game. He has pressure in his face, and the route combination is very congested. There's a lot of routes in the same area, meaning a lot of defenders in the same area. And we saw that with this one against Green Bay. 3 Seahawk receivers, all in kind of the same area, leading to, I think, 5 defenders in the area. And then pressure in Geno's face forces him to make a quick decision, throws it up to the back of the end zone where he thinks he's going to have a guy, doesn't quite get enough on it because of the pressure in his face. They're losing 14-0 at this point. Actually, it's 14-3 at this point, and he has to make something happen. And that's when Geno makes his mistakes. It just like when he feels the need to force the ball into the end zone to make these quick decisions is when he starts making mistakes. And that's kind of what we saw. Is he tried to force it into the back of the end zone, and a defender that wasn't even guarding the dude he was throwing it to was able to get over and make the interception. So just not a great play design, not a great play call, and just not great execution across the board. So, you know, he has this problem, but at the same time, when Sam Howell came in, it was god awful. Sam Howell was like 5 for 14, had a net yardage of 3. After 4 sacks for 21 yards, he passed for 24, meaning he had a net of 3 yards. Not good. Not good. They did score the touchdown with Sam Howell in the game, but to be fair, the defense forced a fumble, given the offense pretty good field position, and Charbonnet ran for 24 yards. So it wasn't even Howell that did it. So just not a good game from Howell. I think we're seeing that Geno Smith has been mitigating a lot of the problems with the offensive line, with his reads, with his ability to get the ball out in time, with his sack breaking ability, which I think is really underrated, but we've kind of seen that this year. And then his ability to like understand to just throw the ball away sometimes. Because Sam Howell took 4 sacks in a quarter and a half. Geno took 3 in 2.5 quarters. So you can kind of see already the
Yeah.
levels. So yeah, I do think Geno has been playing better than the stats would suggest this year, just because of how bad this offensive line has been and how much he's needed to. I think if we had a average to below average quarterback in this team, like Sam Howell is, I feel like this team might be a 4 to 5 win team, maybe not even that. It's not good, so I think Geno deserves a lot of credit for what he's been through this season and what he's able to continue to do. Yeah, he does have a red zone interception problem, but I think there's context to explain some of that. Um, On to Grubb. I'm not a fan of him right now
Yeah.
as a coordinator. It's been very off and on. I feel like he doesn't try to stick to the run enough. What I mean by that is Seattle had very little success running the ball early in this game, um, and then they got behind 14-0. So then he was like, well, we got to pass, got to pass, got to pass. There was a lot of time left. You could still run the ball. And we saw Seattle had a 24-yard touchdown run with Charbonnet. So the run game did start to work. So getting away from that early, I just felt like did the quarterbacks no favors. Dropping back so many times to throw is not great, but it is what it is. So if he can't learn to be balanced in his attack, because it's so pass heavy, it's so college style, and that's where he came from. If he can't learn to like call a more NFL style game, I just don't feel like he should be the coordinator next year. That's something McDonald's going to decide. It is interesting. This is the first time ever a first time NFL head coach has hired a coordinator without NFL experience, and it did not go well, or it's not going great. So maybe that's just something that you got to decide. And unfortunately, they might give him more time if he can prove that he can figure it out. But at this point, we've seen 15 weeks, and we haven't gotten there yet of him figuring that out. So maybe it's just not going to happen. Um, it sucks, but at the same time, you got to make decisions. I think that might be something they look at this offseason, but we'll see. In my opinion, if he doesn't learn how to call a more offensive style game and be able to stick to the run even when it's not succeeding, he needs to get out because that's not how you win football games. You
Not in the
can't win.
NFL, at least.
Yeah. So that's really been the problem with the offense is play calling and the lack of run game is, I think, part of the problem. And the offensive line has been terrible. So we had a comment this week for the Seahawk fan here, and it was, "What are my opinions on the Seahawks' odds to win their division after this loss? It's not high. Uh, they don't have the tiebreaker right now against the Rams. They have a more difficult schedule when it compared to the Rams. So they've got to win a couple of the next games, and they've got to beat the Rams. I just don't know how likely that is with the offensive line issues we're having. And really, until that offensive line's fixed, I don't know if this team can really be what they want to be and really get to where they want to get. So that's just something we're going to have to look at in the offseason is fixing this offensive line to be able to get where we need to be. But I think that's really where we're at. So even if they do somehow win the division and make the playoffs, I kind of think there might be a first round exit just because of how awful this offensive line is. That is something that you need to have come playoff time is a consistent offensive line because if you can't do that, the pass rush is just going to eat you alive, and that's really where we're at. So shout out to Hawk for Life 14 for the comment, but in my opinion, I just don't think the Seahawks really don't have great odds to win a division, and even if they do, I don't think they'll make it pretty at all far in the playoffs at this point, just with the issues this offensive line is having. But we'll see. Um, in terms of game balls, I wasn't. I'm not going to give any out. I just didn't feel like this performance deserved one. Obviously, JSN did have a really good game, but the offense as a whole struggled, so I can't really give him one for that. And then the defense, no one really stood out. Like, especially with that slow start, I just don't feel like anybody played a spectacular game. So I'm really just not going to give out game balls this week. They didn't really deserve it with how pathetic that performance was on primetime. So that's what it is. Injury news: Kenneth Walker did not play. So we'll see if he's ready this week. Gino left game with a knee injury. Early signs look good. And then Oluwatimi left game with a knee injury. He's listed as day to day. So as of Thursday, the participants are non-participants, mostly rest. It looks like you do have Brady Russell on there, Travis Gibson, who hasn't been playing, so it doesn't really matter. Full participants. K9 is back on the full participant. DK Metcalf is a full participant, and Gino is a full participant. So that's huge.
Nice.
If Gino's good to go, that would be great. Charbonnet is limited, along with Olu and Ernest Jones. So hopefully they're good to go. But just something to keep an eye on. Yeah, so that's good. Injuries getting positive. Kenneth Walker being back should be really helpful. DK being good to go is always huge. And then Geno Smith being good is great because if Sam Howell had to play, we're fucked. It's like 5 interception game against the Vikings and that defense that Brian Flores has put together. So definitely something to keep an eye on. So hopefully he's good to go and be ready for Sunday.
So I don't follow Seahawks football
Yeah,
as well. What the hell happened to DJ Dallas?
he left in free agency and signed with the Cardinals.
Okay.
And he was the first person this year to have a kick return touchdown. Fun fact.
Huh. I missed that.
I don't
All
know.
right. Noted.
But yeah,
Noted.
he is with the Cardinals. He left this offseason.
Yeah, it like occurred to me that like you're talking about your running backs, and I'm like, he doesn't come up.
Yeah, because he's no longer here. It's
Yeah, no, that's fair. That makes
Kenneth
sense.
Walker, Zach Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh, and those are the three. Technically, there's a fourth that's been getting elevated for game day, but he's on the practice squad, so it doesn't matter.
That's the guy for the contract incentive thing.
No, that would not be.
No. Okay, well then I don't know. I don't care.
It's fine. But yeah, so good injury news for the Seahawks. So hopefully that means
Yeah.
they at least put up a competitive fight against the Vikings. We will see. The Vikings are a good team, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's I've talked about the red zone interceptions and being an issue, but if the route tree really looks like that, and you have three, like, that's stupid as fuck.
Yeah, it's been rough.
And it's hard. Like, if you are a casual football viewer and you're watching us, I know 13-30, you go, how good can the defense be? A good offense can exist without a good defense. A good defense can't really exist without at least a competent offense.
Let me put
When
a
you are
great,
constantly on the field, they get tired.
and I think that's kind of where because early they didn't start off great. They picked it up towards the middle of the game, and then it was the end of the game when Howell
garbage time
went 3 and out on almost every play, or every series,
drive.
had the interception.
Yeah, like
it's tough for the
you
defense
start to
to
give up more points. Like,
the defense unfortunately got tired and just couldn't keep it up. So I'm like, it is what it is.
It's not necessarily indicative of how they're doing, or.
But I do
hopefully
think
y'all can get that O-line fixed, because 7 sacks on 2 quarterbacks. That's a rough day.
It was not great. It does not help.
I got pissed off and Lamar got sacked.
Yeah, Geno Smith's been getting sacked a lot. It's annoying to me, though, that the Seahawks offensive line came off their best game against Arizona and followed it up with this. I don't think it was their worst this season, which is saying something, by the way.
God.
That a 7-sack day was not their worst, because I think they've done it already this year where they've had 7 sacks. But still, we gotta figure it out. I was hoping that the offensive line would continue after last week, but no.
Apparently not. Did not watch this game, but
you didn't really have to. You didn't miss much.
Yeah. No. We checked the score at dinner, and I was like, good enough.
Yeah, you didn't miss a whole ton. It was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a theme.
Oh, go ahead.
It's like it seems to be a theme, with the games of the week and our games.
And I feel like you and I were never aligned. Like, if I had a good week, you didn't. If you had a good week, I didn't.
That's
like, rarely are we both like, awesome week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, game of the week. I picked Pittsburgh at Philly, which got more interesting as the week went on. I picked a game, and then it escalated. Here's the problem I have. I am no expert, but I'm also not immune to my quarterback being heavily criticized. Okay, just so we're clear. Lamar gets it a lot. Some of that criticism, though, is fair. To say that the Eagles' passing game and Jalen Hurts' ability to throw the ball is a concern is not an attack, simply true. A.J. Brown, after their last game, came out and said that the passing game was a problem. If you actually break down the film on A.J. Brown, there are clearly plays he's supposed to get the ball, or he's the number one read, and Jalen Hurts is back there running around like a crazy person for no reason. And either makes a play that works out, throwing the ball, scrambles, gets maybe a yard or two, or gets a sack, or he throws the ball away. So A.J. Brown, who is a number one wide receiver in this league, and he's probably top 5 in, most people ranking wide receivers, top 5, top 10 at least, goes, hey, we need to be able to throw the ball better. That's a fact. If you want to win a Super Bowl, you cannot just run the ball. I'm not sure how many playoff games of the Ravens we have to see to prove that. He said a thing. Had every right to say it. I don't think it was an attack. I don't think he was freaking out on anybody. Then Brandon Graham got involved, and he said some shit that should not have been said on his radio show. Like, don't talk about the relationship between your quarterback and your wide receiver. About how they're not friends anymore. A.J. Brown, or Jalen Hurts, is godson to one of A.J. Brown's kids. I have a hard time believing that. It's 53 guys in the locker room. There's going to be tension. They're not going to get along sometimes. But your quarterback and your wide receivers have to get along. Have to have a decent relationship. It's just fact. It doesn't work if they don't. So then they played. They played well. He threw the ball really well. He threw the ball to A.J. Brown. Not a crap ton. Like, he went from 6 targets to like 8 or 10. All he was asking for was the ball when he's supposed to get the ball. That's what happened. After the game, Jalen Hurts comes out and tries to gaslight the world by saying, is that what y'all wanted to see? Bitch, we didn't say anything. Nobody said shit. Except for members of the Eagles. I feel like the Eagles are this weird cartoon character that's standing in a barrel of gunpowder and keeps lighting its own match and then blowing it out. Like, all of the drama with the Eagles, they create. Sirianni's yelling at fans on the sideline. Bro, shut up. Defensive players are talking about relationships between the quarterback and the wide receivers. Bro, what the fuck do you know?
Especially because he hasn't been with the team for a while because he's hurt.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
So, it's funny. It's almost like they're looking at the Cowboys, okay?
Yeah.
And what they do. And they're like, maybe we should also have problems, but like fake it
Fake
so
it,
that
fake problem.
we stay in the media as well. But I'm like, y'all are good, and you have Saquon Barkley. You're gonna be in the media.
Yeah. Like, well, and okay. A lot of talk shows have former players on it. A lot of former players are Eagles. They were Eagles players. So they talk about that team a lot. Like, I hear about the Packers way too fucking often. And Aaron Rodgers way too often. But because of where the shows I watch, that's who they have on them. Like, it's just fact. It's a good thing. Just because, and like, they were talking positively about this team. And it was like, fuck that nonsense. We need drama. So it was unnecessary. I kind of think it was fake. Like it felt fake. It felt like we knew we were going to throw the ball a lot against Pittsburgh. So to set it all up, we created this weird drama.
Narrative.
Yeah, of like he can't throw the ball. They're unhappy with each other. Everyone's pissed off.
It just made no
It,
sense.
the whole chain of events. Like the media has to then react to the things you say, but then you want to blame the media for the problem y'all created.
Yeah, and
Like, I'm not saying sometimes the media doesn't stick their foot in their mouth. I'm not saying that. They do it all the time.
but
But
when you come out and say
they're not friends anymore. We need to pass better. Like, what are you doing? You can handle that shit in house. It's a large building. There's a lot of places you can go to yell at each other or talk it out. We don't have to hear about
or
it.
reporters are not allowed everywhere in the facility. Like
Yeah,
for the most part, actually, they're not even allowed on the field.
they just get to be at the locker room for like 10 minutes after the game. You didn't have to say that shit then. You could have just been like, what are the problems with this offense? Bitch, we're rolling. We got Saquon Barkley getting ready to beat Eric Dickerson's record MVP. Fuck you, 10 and win straight. We don't have problems. Be done. Media leaves
But
and go, motherfucker, you need to throw me that goddamn ball. Nobody would have known shit.
yeah,
You could have thrown hands with him and we'd have never known about it.
okay, maybe if you thrown hands, we might have known about it.
But like, you don't have to say it. Just because the thought comes to your head, you don't have to say it.
Well, players need to learn that apparently because
So that was pretty much the story of the game. Honestly, um, Pittsburgh is very George Pickens dependent. That was made abundantly clear. I think I don't want to say we knew that. Like, obviously he was a favorite of Russell's, but that's just kind of based off his play style.
yeah,
But he is clearly necessary. The fumble by Najee was unfortunate. When you're a running back and you get the ball that often, it happens. Like it's been like 200 carries for him since he. When you get the ball that often, you're going to fumble. It'd been like 200 carries since he fumbled. Um, that happens. Pittsburgh could just never really find itself, and then obviously, T.J. Watt going down with the injury
not
definitely
great.
didn't help. He is thankfully a full participant in practice and should be good for the game. So thankfully for Steelers fans, thankfully because I don't like seeing guys hurt, but also kind of low-key bummer. Just think we could rest him for a week and it'd be more important that he played against the Chiefs. That's all I'm saying. It's just a choice we can make.
You see, though, unfortunately, they hate the Baltimore Ravens,
No, I know they do.
and
I know they do.
he hates the Baltimore Ravens. So
He has no reason to hate the Baltimore Ravens when he's the only motherfucker that like has Lamar's number. He's like, I know where that guy's gonna be. He's got like a GPS tracker in his ass.
but they still hate the Baltimore Ravens.
Um,
So good luck with
yeah.
that.
It honestly it was a boring game. You did see Philly's passing attack kind of come together. I still have questions about the ability to consistently throw the ball, but it was better. Philly got the win. It was more about the drama, which was wildly unnecessary for
Yeah.
no goddamn reason. Felt fake, felt weird.
Stupid.
We'll see what happens now.
I guess we'll
I
find out.
have more thoughts on your game.
My
So,
game is
talk to
more
us.
interesting. Bears
It
at
was.
Vikings. The Vikings win 30-12. Another just boring game. In a way, like the Vikings destroyed them in every facet of the game. Um, The Vikings are good. The Vikings are a good team. They have a good defense. Brian Flores is doing a lot. O'Connell is one of the front runners for Coach of the Year. So, you know,
And Darnold is playing really well.
yeah,
Like,
Darnold is crushing it.
I think if it weren't for the situation, he would be more actively in the MVP conversation.
Probably.
I think unfortunately his past is just too much of an anchor right now.
Yeah. It'll take a bit for him to get to that point.
I think he
But
needs a new contract with a team, maybe a new team. Right now, like O'Connell's getting so much of the credit. If he can
yeah,
go somewhere else and play well, I
he'd
think
get
we'll
that
see it.
credit.
But right now, Kevin O'Connell's getting it.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, Vikings, good team. Uh, the Bears, on the other hand, are a dumpster fire shit show. That is mildly entertaining to watch. Um, you know,
It's a travesty. It's a train wreck that you don't want to see,
see, but
but you
you
can't
can't
not.
take your
It's
eyes
like a
off of it.
Final Destination movie. It's like we keep firing people hoping it's gonna help, and it's not.
So let me
The
walk you through.
log truck still wants to kill you.
Let me walk you through the decision making of the Chicago Bears recently. And we'll start before the season even began. You decided to keep Matt Eberflus as your head coach.
Okay.
You know,
Good
it was a
defense,
it was a
defensive guy.
decision.
We okay, not terrible, but
Didn't
you
have a
can
good
see the
year.
logic.
You had logic. Okay, you're going through the season. You hire Shane Waldron to be your offense coordinator. As a Seahawks fan,
Well,
I could have told you that was a terrible idea. Just awful, bad. And it was. So you fire him midway through the season. You go a couple weeks. You get to Thanksgiving, and your coach has one of the worst clock management moments of the season, pretty much. It was not good. It was pretty terrible. National television against one of your rivals on Thanksgiving. You can't do that. He gets fired. So we've gone from your coordinator getting fired and is replaced by the pass game coordinator at the time, who is now the offense coordinator. Your head coach is fired. And rather than promote the defensive coordinator that, has been defensive coordinating the whole year and can probably step in and fill the head coaching job more seamlessly, easier, we decide as an organization to promote the dude, the offensive coordinator, the pass game coordinator that was the pass game coordinator like 3 weeks ago, to the head coach position. Because that's intelligent. That's the plan. We'll make a dude who 3 weeks ago was pretty much in charge of like one thing to make him in charge of the whole team in like 2 weeks.
yeah.
Seems brilliant. So no wonder Caleb Williams' development has gone down the fucking toilet because, I mean, why wouldn't it? You
Yeah.
have no coaching staff pretty much at this point because your head coach and your coordinator has been fired. Your whole offense is getting promoted because, well, they have to.
Someone has to do it.
So yeah, Caleb Williams, unfortunately, has got the shit end of the deal. And it's kind of funny because the Bears looked at what they did to Justin Fields and how terribly they developed him and went, you know what we can do? We can
We can
probably
do it
do
worse.
worse and absolutely completely fail to develop a first overall pick. And that is what they're currently
Again,
doing. At least Fields was the ninth overall pick in the
that's fair.
draft. This time they're doing it with the first overall pick, who at one point was compared to Michael Jordan, which,
That's how the season started. It was a insane take on Hard Knocks.
so there's that. Caleb
Yeah.
Williams um is kind of being a pussy. Just gonna throw it out there. He takes a lot of hits. Part of that is his offensive line sucks. Part of that is his refusal to just get rid of the fucking football. It's not hard, bro. If you see the defender coming and you have no one open, launch it out of bounds. It like just get rid of it.
It's an option.
That, or you have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze. One of them should be open, you would think. Or, can be honest, you could probably just throw it, and one of the three will probably catch it because they're all really good receivers. Hear me out. You have three good receivers. You don't have to hold on to the ball for an hour behind your offensive line that sucks. Okay, well, you just don't. So, yeah, you take a lot of hits, but half of those are kind of on you. So, maybe you shouldn't be laying on the ground after taking a hit that you invited for an hour. Just want to throw that out there. Also, when you're on the sideline, you should try to remain stoic, calm, collected, and not flail
Right.
about like what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
So I have talked a lot about talent
Yes.
and how talent is not enough. When you're in high school, I don't want to say it's easy, but raw talent stands out. In college, raw talent stands out. In the NFL, everybody is talented.
Raw talent does not
Raw
stand out.
talent must be exceptional. It must be Lamar Jackson.
But
You
even
cannot
then,
teach that. That is something he does. It must be Josh Allen. You cannot teach that arm. He has that.
but even
But
then, you still have to learn
yes, that's
to
you have
employ your talent.
you have to learn how to use the talent and you have to learn the fundamentals as well.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is not quarterback because he can run around like a crazy person. Josh Allen is not quarterback because he can throw the ball 90 yards. You have to be able to make decisions. You have to utilize that talent. Unfortunately, when you're talented in high school and you're talented in college and you get to the NFL, not all talent is still talent. His scramble ability is pretty dog shit.
He can
So that's
avoid the
one.
sack for a while, but can't do much other than that.
Two, like you said, you get rid of the goddamn ball. Like, for the love of God. Keenan Allen is a big boy. He might not be open. Throw him the ball. He will catch it.
Or
That's what he does.
the other team
DJ
won't.
Moore might not be open. Might not have 10 yards of separation. He's still open. Throw him the damn ball. That's what he does. That's his job. It'll be okay. I am concerned with several things. Obviously, he needs a competent coach. I don't
Yes.
think Shane Waldron was that. I don't know that like anything at this point is on Thomas Brown. I mean, you got fired from Carolina of all places, so like that's not great. Doesn't give me a ton of confidence in your ability. But that man is just promoted and promote. Like he's trying to catch his damn breath, let alone develop a quarterback.
And let's be honest here. This man isn't built to be a head coach. And
Yeah.
that's fine.
So, and that's fine. So this shouldn't have happened in the first place. Bears failed. He needs proper coaching. But I am concerned that he does not have the mental fortitude to be quarterback.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray is very talented with limitations. But the thing that keeps him from being great is mental fortitude. We talked about at the beginning of this episode um, Patrick Mahomes and how
Yeah.
as hurt as he's ever been. I mean, we've seen that guy with his kneecap in the wrong spot come back like 3 weeks later, be like, I'm good, y'all. Let's play. Ankles are super weak. Like, he always seems to have a messed up ankle. He goes.
He figures it the fuck out. You
All
see,
of these quarterbacks,
Justin
you've
Herbert
seen,
this
yeah,
season has been getting his ass beat.
and like all of he's dealing with ankles, plantar fasciitis,
Rib issues.
just plays through it. We saw Kyler Murray, that Hard Knocks they did. He got that ankle tweak before he tore the Achilles or the ACL. I don't remember which. I apologize. But he tweaked his ankle, and he's in the training room going, "Yeah, I'm not going to play next week." And the trainer straight up goes, "Who said that? We don't even know that yet. It's been like a day." That's what keeps the talented from being great. And I'm seeing a guy have not one, but two instances where delay of games were called because he's laying on the ground, taking a sweet ass time to get up, and then go to the sideline and, like you said, flailing around on the bench.
And that's the
Like,
not. And what's
it
worse
sucks.
is that's not the first time he's done that on a bench.
Yeah,
He
like,
did
it
that
sucks.
at Oklahoma, and he's done that at USC, and now he's done that in Chicago.
Like, that is a mentality thing. If you are that hurt that you can't keep pace, you should probably go to the tent. Part of being a quarterback, I'm not talking about a running back. I'm not talking about a wide receiver. I'm not talking about a linebacker. When you play quarterback, you are a leader on your team. You have to present yourself as a leader. They go as you go. We've talked about the Dolphins. The Dolphins clearly coach cold. When McDaniel is shivering on the sideline, the team is cold. They act cold. They play cold. When you are flailing around on the bench like a bitch, your team loses its speed, its strength, its fortitude. This is part of it. This is part of playing in the NFL. You're going to get hit. It's just fact. Just fact. Even if you have a great O line, Jared Goff takes sacks. Has one of the best O lines in the NFL. Takes sacks. It happens. You're going to get hit. You have to get up. You have to keep playing.
Or
You have to
if you,
charge into battle.
or seriously, you're hurt enough that you can't, then you just
Then,
gotta,
then walk off. Then go to the tent. Go to the tent.
like,
Then
okay,
do not get to the media and go, "I need to catch my breath." Don't fucking say that.
that don't. But like, okay, Geno Smith hurt his knee during the game.
Yeah.
Tried to stand up. Immediately went, nope,
Yeah.
hit the ground.
Then
Comes off
stay
the
down.
field, spikes his helmet. That you can live with because that's just you being pissed off that you got hurt.
You're frustrated. That, I'm going to be honest, team responds really well to. You spike a helmet, whole team's like, he's mad because this isn't going well.
And then he went to the locker room
Yeah.
because he was too hurt
Like,
to go back.
so I think there are things in Caleb Williams that can get better. That with proper coaching, you can improve on. Please, God, I hope so. I have real concerns
About the
because how, at this point, has no coach fixed this? This is the thing that keeps Kyler Murray from being great. This is the problem. Is the mental fortitude.
Yeah, it
And I would say that if Caleb Williams, the best prospect since John Elway, he's the savior to Chicago. If his ceiling is Kyler Murray, it's a bust. Like, that's what it is. I'm sorry for Cardinals fans. I apologize. I'm not trying to come for your quarterback, but let's be honest here. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
it's not great.
If this guy, maybe a different quarterback, if JJ McCarthy's ceiling is Kyler Murray, okay, fine. But this guy, if that's the ceiling with this team around him,
It's not good. It's not
it's a bust.
great.
It's a bust. And I'm very concerned about what I'm saying. If you can get better at the fundamentals, if you can have a coach that teaches you to throw the fucking ball, fine.
But you
But you
definitely,
have to get the mental shit in line.
and there's very few coaches I think that could do that.
I honestly, I think Vrabel
I
is the
think
play.
that would be my like
If
one.
he can't do it, if he can't get his head on right and get him into that mental fortitude part of football, nobody can.
Like, there's others I think that could do it, but they're already head coaches in the league.
Yeah,
Like,
I meant of available.
yeah, no, available. It's pretty much Mike Vrabel, and that's it.
Like,
And unfortunately, I think the problem is I think if you're gonna fix it, you have to fix it. Okay,
hold on, give me a second. That was crazy.
I'll just
That was crazy.
okay.
Go ahead.
If you're gonna fix that problem, you have to fix it now or within the next like 2 years. This cannot
Yeah,
wait.
because
Because I
like
think that's the problem with Murray. Is I think with
it's too late.
Kingsbury did not fix the
Mhm.
problem, and now it's past the point where you can fix that.
Because unfortunately, like him and Kingsbury never got along. Like he never really respected Kingsbury, and that's a whole different thing.
But it's
But
still
like
the
when you let this go for
they
too long,
and that's
it becomes a habit.
because I think there are other coaches that would do this, but yeah, Vrabel's the only one that I think can do it quick enough to where
Mhm.
it's no longer a problem. And
And
that's the
again,
thing.
available. Like active coaches, I can think of several, but
I think
they're
Vrabel's
not
a
available.
good choice. Unless Caleb gets traded somewhere, but that's just
I
not happening.
mean, not this year. Not next year, at least.
I mean, that would
Need
be
new
pretty
head coach
stupid.
now. So it's
So yeah,
just it's the main concern I have.
that's a completely valid concern because I
I'm not
agree.
like obviously fundamentally playing like shit. I don't put that on Caleb. I don't think he ever had the development he needed or the coaching he needed.
Yeah, like
I think
while
if you hire the right head coach, you could get there.
I I do think Vrabel is the right head coach as long as he also brings in the right coordinator.
Yeah.
That's like I think as a head coach, Vrabel will fix the attitude. We'll give that boy a real attitude adjustment. I
Yeah.
think then you need the coordinator to drive home the
For the
fundamentals.
fundamentals. And that's why I think I don't have strong opinions on hiring an offensive or defensive head coach. I
don't
think it's team dependent. I think it's all kinds of things. I do not think this team should get a rookie head coach.
no.
Of the people available in that regard, Vrabel is a defensive minded head coach. I do think that can be a good thing when physicality tends
Isn't
to be a big deal. So he can help Caleb with that. And then if he can hire the right OC, I think it's also beneficial to a rookie quarterback because if the rookie quarterback, if the offensive mind is the head coach, okay, like take an Andy Reid.
okay. Well,
Andy Reid has other responsibilities
I was gonna
as
say
head coach.
just real quick. Let's
Go.
just say the Bears decided because a name I've heard a lot for the Bears job is Ben Johnson, the offense
Okay.
coordinator for the Lions. And I don't hate that. It's also not my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's because of what you're saying. Is if Ben Johnson gets hired as the head coach, his job is to be the head coach. He has to focus on it
Hmm.
all of it. He can't just be the offense.
Yeah. And like when Andy Reid got Mahomes, he had years of experience. So even though he was the offense guy and the head coach, he knew what he was doing. He
Yeah.
knew how to divvy up responsibilities. If you hire a coordinator, they're not going to necessarily know how to do those things. And then I think if you hire an offensive coordinator, the focus and the time Caleb needs is going to get shortchanged.
So I think what would happen, and is from a Seahawks fan that's going through this currently,
Yeah,
who has a first year NFL head coach that was a coordinator, defensive side, but
really
similar
good.
thing. So we hired him. He's defense. I think the biggest thing for a new head coach is figuring out how to not spend all your time on that side.
Yeah,
And I think that's something that McDonald unfortunately hasn't gotten a hold of yet. Is I think he's almost spending too much time with the defense, and that's why we're seeing the problems with the offense. And I think that would be what would happen if you hire a Ben Johnson.
yeah,
Is I think he'd fix the offense. It's the defense then that kind of gets neglected by the head coach and is then left completely to a coordinator. And that could
yeah.
be okay, but at the same time, eh.
But the only teams I think that you really see success in that regard are one of two situations. Either the head coach has experience. Andy Reid, it is very public, it's very well known. Andy Reid does not mess with defense at all. He lets Spagnola run that shit. But Spagnola knows what he's doing. It's not their first year together.
Spagnola could damn near be a head coach if
Andy Reid
he's that good.
has the experience. He knows what it should look like on game day. So if it doesn't, he and Spagnola can have those meetings. A rookie head coach, if we let's talk Washington. They have a rookie head coach with a rookie quarterback and a defensive minded head coach in Dan Quinn.
On the
But
whole,
he hired
one thing, Dan Quinn has been a head coach before, though.
he has.
He head coached Atlanta right after leaving the coordinator job in Seattle.
Okay. I forgot about that. So he has head coach experience, but he hired somebody with a lot of experience
Yes.
in Kingsbury. So they're able to deal with their sides of the ball and it come out well. I just think when you hire true rookies, you see what we're seeing in Seattle. Seattle has the benefit of not a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. Of a very experienced.
someone that doesn't really need developed. He needs a better O-line, he needs a better scheme, but he doesn't need a ton of like fundamental coaching.
Like if you're trying to
Caleb
coach Geno Smith at this point, you're
needs fundamental coaching.
yeah.
He needs that experience. He needs someone that can dedicate their time to him. And I think the only way you'll get that is an experienced
Head
head
coach
coach.
and an experienced coordinator.
Yeah. And that's why I think of the available,
And I agree.
Vrabel makes the most
I
sense.
think Vrabel makes the most sense. I've just been hearing
No, and
Ben
I
Johnson's
get
name a lot
people
because he's
want him to take a job so badly. I'm not convinced he's ever going to.
if he doesn't this go around, he won't get offered next go around. Because
I don't think that's true.
I think teams are just gonna give up. If you
I don't think
prove if you keep declining offers, eventually teams are just gonna be like, you don't want it, so why would we offer it to you? Why would we waste our time?
so. Here's the thing. I get the concept in the real world. In the NFL, when you have 5 or so head coaching jobs come up every year, I think it comes up.
Maybe, but
I
the point
Me
stands
as
of
a coordinator, like as Ben Johnson, if I wanted a head coaching job, if I wanted that path, the Bears job is the one I take. Of the ones currently
of the
available.
ones currently that yes,
That's what I mean.
absolutely.
Like, if you want that path, this is your time.
Yeah. But the fact that you turned down the Commanders when they
Is
had
pretty crazy.
the second overall pick and you
Yeah,
had your
pretty crazy.
pick of quarterback,
Yeah. I don't
eh,
think he wants it, honestly.
that's where I'm at, and we'll see.
And some people don't they want to be a coordinator
And
and they're
like,
good at it,
to be
and
fair,
that's fine.
you're the coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Like, you worked for one of the best head coaches in the league.
Yeah.
You have an easy job of like, I just have to be good.
Yeah.
Like, I just have to be okay. And Dan Campbell has all the trust in me. It like I have a great offense, great offensive line, a competent quarterback. What else would you ask for? And you're
Yeah.
a contender every year. That's why
Like you're
Spagnola hasn't left Kansas City.
yeah, it's like he could be a head coach, but right now he's winning Super Bowl rings. So why do that?
Yeah. But right now, he's probably the single best defensive coordinator of all time by accolades. Like just pure
Yeah,
defensive
like as a
coordinator.
coordinator, because I'm like, well,
I'm not
Belichick,
talking
but he had two
I'm not
as a
talking as a head
DC.
coach. I'm
Yeah,
talking
no, I had to count rings. I was
yeah.
because Belichick has two as a DC.
But I'm like, why would you? Why would you risk that? Why would you not?
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and that's why I do. I just think of the available because I think the main problem with this team is mentality,
I agree. And yeah, I do. I agree that Vrabel better is the best choice.
and then I trust in his ability to hire a coordinator. I think Tennessee had other problems.
I think Tennessee had other problems. It would be interesting to see if he can turn around the narrative of unbeing able.
Um, yeah, just I think so much will be decided immediately based off who their head coach is.
Yeah.
And as soon as we know that, we're going to discuss it.
I mean, we'll discuss all the head coaching changes because there's a lot of them. And there's more to come.
I would
Um,
be shocked if there aren't.
but yeah, I think that really does it for the games of the week.
Awesome. Well, then do we want to look ahead? Or you know what? Hold on. Any other thoughts on last week of football?
No.
Anything? I had one, kind
Go.
of.
Go.
We talked a little Lions, Bills. I didn't really feel the need to further that conversation. We talked about the
Yeah.
onside kick, which was a choice. I didn't love it in the moment. The more I thought about it, I went, okay. I think the Cowboys being underdogs to the Panthers,
Was a little
they
funny.
took extremely personally.
Yeah.
Like they deserved it. Like I think it made sense,
But they took it
but they
personally.
took that shit personally.
I I didn't
Um,
watch that game because I mean, like, why would I?
you know what we also didn't talk about? I didn't watch it. I saw it. Not the same thing. Quarterback changes. Winston was benched for DTR because of the Chiefs, and I do think that's going to hold.
Okay, missed
That
that one.
many picks is a problem.
Yeah, that's Jameis Winston for you.
And
I don't know if DTRs could be better, but the Browns also suck,
no,
so fuck
but
it.
at least then you can blame it on like he's a second year guy, hasn't gotten a ton of starts,
It's just a whole
you
fuck it,
know.
fuck it.
And Levis
Has also been
was
benched.
also benched because here's the problem. When the Bengals defense
Turns you over like 7
can
times.
pick you off that many times, you're terrible.
That
I
game
will
had
say
like 10 combined. So
one of them, the pick six by Geno Stone, was a Raven last year, and he had a lot of picks. That is something he's good at. But the Bengals defense is garbage. So that's on Levis. Pretty confident his starting NFL career has
it
come to an end
is
for him.
quickly coming to an end. Yeah, no,
Uh,
that's not happening.
and then only other mild thought I had is I think the Broncos are further ahead than even they thought they were going to be
Yeah.
because okay, we saw it with the Lions and the Texans game. When your quarterback can play that terribly, but you still win,
Says a lot. Says a
you're
lot.
wildly developing as a team. And I do think they're a draft and a free agency away from being a contender. The $80 million cap hit from Russell Wilson is playing a factor. That vastly
But
comes down next year. But they are definitely further ahead.
then I think anyone thought they were going to be.
Yeah. The one thing though, because we talk about like there's always a trend, right? Like all kickers seem to struggle the same week. Um, some weeks are really big for like turnovers. That was this week. One thing we saw this week, like everybody did,
Was
was
fumble at the
drop the ball at the goal line.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Like, okay, at least the defensive player that did it, it looked like he was trying to swap hands so that he didn't fumble. But also
Necessary though.
was
He
not
had
necessary.
it,
It's not
and the
necessary.
defender coming at him was on the other side.
But like also you're a fucking defender that's carried the ball
You're a
twice in
defender.
your
You're
career.
stupid. You don't
Just
know.
just 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 hold the ball. Just hold the ball. Also though,
But
Jonathan Taylor,
what the fuck?
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Like,
It's depressing when that game at that point he walks in for a touchdown. It's like 19-10 or
yeah,
something like that.
like
Instead, the Broncos shut them out the rest of the game.
so. It just
You know,
I don't know what was happening this week.
so that's just something I don't
I
understand. I don't.
I feel like the first time because the big one, the historical one, was Deshaun Jackson, right? When he was an Eagle, spiked the ball at the goal line to like celebrate, and everyone was like, "You're stupid." um,
People keep doing it.
how it continues to happen,
I
I
don't.
don't know.
I don't know
Like
either. It,
you don't have to let. There's no rule about letting the ball go. Like you can hold on to it through the end zone. That's allowed.
I would be of the opinion. If I'm in that situation. Okay, I'm just holding the ball until I get to the goalposts. Okay,
Like, and okay,
or just don't let
maybe
go of the ball.
it's an advantage, But like, okay, the Ravens, their home field, the end zone's purple. So you know when you're standing on purple versus green, right? So I don't know if everybody needs to paint their end zone,
But also, don't be a fucking
but
idiot.
like, just don't do that.
But also, just hold the ball until you
Like,
are
just a
in the end zone,
little longer, because it's never
or just
like
don't drop the ball. That would be my thing. Just
far.
don't drop the ball.
It's just crazy. And I don't
Just,
understand
just
how
don't.
this,
I don't get it. I don't
because
get
I
it.
feel like Deshaun Jackson's moment should be like I feel I feel like it should be like a cardinal sin. Like it's this thing we teach, like don't fucking ever do this.
Yeah, I think it should just be something that
Cross
you.
the goal line, go 1, 2, okay.
Yeah, or seriously, just don't drop the ball.
Hell, run all the way through the end zone, celebrate, and then drop it.
Like I don't.
Because we saw people drop it. One team, can't remember who,
One
Pittsburgh, dropped it.
who's
I
not
think.
Pittsburgh.
Nope. Somebody dropped it and then kicked it out the back of the end zone,
Oh, I don't know
which
who.
we've learned is a turnover.
So I think that might have been the Bengals, because the Bengals had the one that was a turnover on downs because it went out of the
Maybe.
back of the end zone. The or touchback because it went out of the back of the end zone. The Colts
Yeah,
was a
so
touchback because it went out of the back of the end zone, or went out the side of the end zone, which is still a touchback, so turnover. The Cardinals got lucky because they had a player fumble it on the goal line, but the offensive lineman was at least intelligent enough to drop onto the ball for a touchdown. So
yeah,
go you for being a good offensive lineman and getting a touchdown. But yeah, so as a player, I don't understand how you fundamentally do that. Just
I don't get
two
it. I
steps. Just
don't
you hit the end zone, make sure both feet touch the end zone,
and I would
and
I
then
don't
drop the ball.
know what you need to do to make sure you've crossed it. Like
Seriously, just both feet. Both feet. I think if you
like
just
'cause
get both feet,
everyone's like, we've crossed it. Let go. Bro, you a yard short. You an inch short.
that's my
It's
point.
you see this like look down. If you don't see solid white, you're not there.
I think that's my point of like I think you just need both feet inside because I think if you have both feet inside, no matter what configuration you're holding the ball in, unless you've decided to put the ball like 8 feet behind you,
You're stupid.
it's a touchdown.
Or why does everybody hold it? Like, reach it out.
Yeah, they all
Because then
like
even
put it
if you
behind
drop
them.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they all have it like down
Yeah, they're all like
at their
down here. They're
ass.
like, oh, it's here. And it's like, no, bro. No.
Just I,
Justice Hill. On Justice Hill's touchdown, basically walked in still, ball out here.
I just don't get it. I don't get
It's
it.
like, just in case I drop it.
It makes
Had
no
control, cross
sense.
the goal line, counts. Fuck you.
It should, like
Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand how that continues to happen.
I don't either. And it's not even like it happens. It happens more often than it should.
Well, and that's okay. We've talked. I don't think it's scripted. I do find it very interesting that like negative trends all happen to every team the same week. This week, kickers are gonna suck. This week, everybody's gonna fumble at the goal line. This week, pick a catastrophe. Like, you know what I mean?
It
Like it
it's
follows trend. Like I know it's a copycat league, but we could chill.
it's one of those things. I just yeah. As a play, I don't fundamentally understand how you don't just like
No,
hold it until you know you're in the end zone.
no. And okay,
Oh,
a rookie, you fucked up. You misjudged.
no,
Jonathan Taylor?
like
What are you doing?
it's not even like
The defender? You don't know better. You're stupid. It's not.
but
Ball carrying
is not
isn't. It's not part of your day.
but Jonathan Taylor has like
Taylor? What are you doing?
enough touchdowns to know.
Yeah. to be like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, idiots, man,
So,
idiots,
alrighty.
idiots.
Well, on to next week. Hopefully, no travesties.
We'll see. Um,
Talk to us, Brennan. What are you going to be
so
paying attention to?
really quickly, just as a
Go.
quick note, college football playoffs start
Oh,
Friday,
yes.
5 o'clock. Notre Dame versus Indiana starts it off, kicks it off. The rest of the games will be Saturday. Uh, should be fun. Should be really cool. Watch college football. I will try to watch college football. We'll see how it goes, but we should talk college football Tuesday, first round.
Yep.
All good there. For my games of the week, I got Seattle at home versus the Minnesota Vikings. That is a 1 p.m. game on Sunday. Since we're not doing a preview, quickly talk about it. I don't think this game's going to go well for Seattle based on how last game went. Um, the Vikings are better than the Packers. I think that's just a fact. Their defense is really good, and with the offensive line issues we're having, I think that defense is going to eat us alive. But we will see. Brian Flores has done a really good job there. And the offense is rolling with Darnold, Jefferson, and company. So hopefully,
Addison's playing really well.
hopefully the Seahawks can at least make it look competitive. But we'll see. The offense really needs to figure their shit out. Hopefully the team just doesn't start off slowly. That is an issue. They have not scored a touchdown on their first possession in like 18 games. It's terrible. They haven't scored one this year, and it was like 3 games last year. So I think it's like 18 at this point. So not good. Um, so hopefully they don't get off to a slow start again, because if they get off to a slow start against the Vikings, let's just say it's not going to go well. It's not going to
Yeah.
go well. So that's really it there. For my game of the week, I'm taking Broncos Chargers Thursday night football. That game is on in like 10 minutes for us.
We're
We
gonna try and wrap this up.
had a late recording, so I'll probably end up watching it while I edit this. But that's my game. Should be a fun one. It's going to determine a lot in the AFC playoff picture. So should be a really good game. Both teams don't really like each other. So we'll see.
Nice. I do not know how much college football I'll be able to watch because both of my games are Saturday games.
Damn,
So that's fun.
busy Saturday.
Kicking off, obviously, Baltimore versus Pittsburgh, Saturday the 21st at 1:30 p.m. I'm pretty excited for this game. It's the first time in several years that Lamar will be playing in the home game versus Pittsburgh. Last several, either he's been injured or he's been rested for the playoffs or whatever. So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, hoping Baltimore comes away with the win. They need to try and win the AFC North. I do think, kind of mentality wise, they need to. In this calendar year, if you don't, you have lost to the Chiefs twice and the Steelers twice, and then you go into the playoffs, probably having to face both of these teams. So, I do think this win is important. Um, Obviously, we'll see how the O line plays. Defense need to limit the penalties. The one benefit I guess I will give to that is if George Pickens isn't playing, have some more options at wide receiver. Two, we saw this their first game is while the defense had penalties, so did the offense because they start to fight each other. So it turns into negating penalties and it didn't impact anybody. So I guess we'll see. AFC North football has its benefits. So when we're all just punching each other on the field, your PI call becomes irrelevant. So we'll see. But I would just rather we didn't have it. George Pickens, I do think is questionable, likely out. TJ Watt probably going to play. So, like I said, we'll see how the O line holds up if they have fixed their issues penalty wise. Hopefully, Lamar has a good game. So, yeah, that's Saturday at 1:30. And then my game of the week is Houston at Kansas City, Saturday at 10 a.m. I guess really quick. Also, I'm excited because I will get to watch Baltimore and Pittsburgh from the comfort of my own home, where I can rage privately. So, game of the week. I am at work, but that's okay. Yeah, Houston at Kansas City. Ravens play Houston next week. Also, if the playoffs were to take place today, their first game's against Houston. So this is a good litmus test. See how they're playing. See what they're doing. I know the O line hasn't been great, but he's got his wide receivers back mostly, with the exception of Diggs. And just see how they stack up against Kansas City. See how Mahomes looks. Houston has a pretty punishing defense, and his O line's a little shaky. So just see how that goes. I'm pretty excited. I haven't Houston hasn't been one of my games of the weeks yet this year, so I'm pretty excited to really focus on them. I watched their game against the Lions, but that was this weird turnover
fest
train wreck thing that happened. So yeah, pretty excited for this. I do think CJ Stroud's a good quarterback. Thought he was a little overhyped. Let's calm down. When you're the hunter versus the hunted, things change. So, but yeah, excited to watch that one. Should be a good week. And I will also have my eye on Pittsburgh and Cleveland because it is an AFC North matchup weekend. That's what we're all doing.
Cincinnati, Cleveland.
What the fuck did I say?
Pittsburgh.
Oh shit. Yeah, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Y'all, it's late. It's like hour for my bedtime. So I will keep my eye on that just because it's an AFC North matchup weekend, and Bengals are trying really hard to sneak into the playoffs, and I don't want that. Go away. You sucked this year. This is your consequence.
We will
and I
see.
think TTR is going to be starting, so we shall see.
Probably won't go well, but whatever.
Probably not. Probably not.
Alrighty. I think that's it. I think that's everything.
I think that does it for the week.
So yeah. That
Awesome.
I think does it for us this week. Make sure to like, subscribe, keep commenting. Like I said, shout out to Hawksful Life 14 for the comment this week. Thank y'all. So keep commenting. We got a Ravens fan comment. Now we got a Seahawks. Moving up.
Other teams, you can comment too.
Yeah.
You want to yell at me for ripping your quarterback because I like
Buffalo fans, Bills Mafia. She hates Josh Allen. She said it.
I don't hate Josh Allen. I have mixed feelings.
Cardinals fans, we both dislike Kyler Murray. I don't know. Come at us.
Strong opinions. So if you have strong opinions, share them.
Yeah, let us know.
Happy to hear about it.
But yeah, that being said, I've been Brendan.
And I've been Dallas.
And it's been Fox X Podcast. Thank y'all.